The question is, will my case go to trial? And the answer to that is you completely decide, because whether you go to trial or not is completely up to the individual who's accused of the crime. A defendant accused of a crime has a constitutional right to have a speedy and public trial by jury. Okay, and if you want a trial, then it's your absolute constitutional right to have a trial if you want one. The question is it a smart or good idea to have a trial? Well, that's a different story. And honestly, that's why you need to talk to a lawyer who's going to be truthful, honest, and realistic with you about whether going to trial is a good idea or not. Because quite honestly, sometimes just taking a deal and taking a safe and known outcome is better than risking and gambling going to trial, where you could win big, but you could also lose big. And the types of, cases that go to trial are generally the ones where there's, great exposure, meaning jail or prison exposure, where there's no good plea deal that can be offered in that scenario, where the client's faced with a situation where they have, nothing to lose as far as they see it. So from that perspective, there are certain cases that make sense to go to trial. Does your first offense DUI make sense to go to trial? There's cost factors that most people have to consider. Going to trial is a very, very expensive process when you factor in that a lawyer has to be sitting in a courtroom or waiting for a courtroom for, roughly a week of time. And by the time you add up the court appearances before the case even gets to trial, it's just a cost benefit thing that you have to decide with your lawyer. Do I really, want to spend the money on something where, yes, I can win, but I can also lose? So going to trial, you have the right to control whether you go to trial or not. And that's something where you should rely on an attorney who's knowledgeable in the county in which your trial's in, so that they know, this is what it's going to be like going against this judge or this prosecutor in this judge's courtroom. Here's how I think that, the evidence is going to come in, or this is what evidence may be excluded. And then you get a better idea, how realistic are my chances of winning and whether this is a good idea or not. So talk to a lawyer who just doesn't tell you what you want to hear, but tells you, what you really need to hear. If you want to talk to me, I'm Nafiz Ahmed, and I'm happy to talk to you.